Good
Here
morning.
for another edition of the Art of Encouragement.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning, my brothers in encouragement.
Good morning, Mark, Nick. We're here in Southern Ohio where we're having, it got down to 39 last night. If that's not an inconvenience, that's nice. I like it cool.
39. That's not bad. That's not bad. That's refreshing.
Yeah.
And that makes me really, really cold.
Some people say that you stay younger longer when you go to the cold. So, look at Wim Hof and look at all these other people that doing the cold plunges and such.
Mark,
Definitely will
you like
stimulate your.
those?
Good.
Don't you like the cold plunges, sir?
I do like cold plunges. I already been looking at some to do this winter. It's already almost here, and so I have been preparing. Have been mentally preparing. It's not just it's like you don't just go and do it. You have to mentally prepare. At least that's me, mentally prepared, and I have been doing a lot of meditating about it. So yeah, it's coming up. Hopefully, God willing.
That's fantastic. How
I'm
do
gonna
you
go in the
prepare
river.
for
I'm
it?
gonna go in the lake.
And you're doing this on purpose, right, Mark?
Yeah, of course. Why? I do this because I want to. I want to do it. I want to see how it feels, and yeah, it's one of those things. Every season of life, we gotta do the best that we can, right? We gotta
Yes.
do the best that we can, and take seasons with life with this open heart. Like today, I had this great chance to connect with nature for almost 2 hours, just uninterrupted meditation. And I got to tell you, it really feels good.
Yes. For Mark, where you are right now, there's so many opportunities where you are just for those landscape views. That word is on my mind right now. Landscape. We're not going to talk about that, but for those who are not able to go out and enjoy the scenery. Maybe there's not a lake close to them. Maybe they don't have transportation. They're in this, metropolitan area, that sort of thing. How would you recommend for those people to enjoy that same getaway that you're able to enjoy out walking through nature? What do they do?
That's a tough question. I think a lot of it starts in our mind.
Mm.
If you really want it, you will attract people, opportunities, and places where you will go. It may not be just yet, but if you're open to it, if you have this deep inside your heart, it will happen. So first I say patience and dream. Dream big. Dream big, because if you don't dream big, it's not going to happen. So while you may not be where you are now, not in a place that you wish, want, or want to spend the rest, whatever life you have, um, dream big and it will come. And another thing is, there's a lot of people talk about, they're miserable. And I think it starts with the mind. If you open up your mind and invite joy and happiness, I gotta tell you, it will come and you'll find it anywhere.
Yes.
That's my answer. Dream big and walk tall, like run, crawl, fly towards your dream, whatever that is. Absolutely. And plus, we just had, well, most of people we love live in Florida, right? We have a big Florida connection. Nick, of
Yes.
course, and Greg, and I am as well. So there was just this big natural event,
You call me
hurricane.
big? Is that no?
Well, somebody has to be big, and it has to be you, Nick.
Yes.
You have you have a big spirit, big, generous heart. And I think this is part of your identity. Is it not?
Absolutely. And that's I believe that each of us have our own dynamic. Now, I want to pivot. I want to ask Greg something really quickly that's related to exactly what I asked you. Greg, when I say memory palace, what comes to your mind? Do you
West
remember?
college basketball. College basketball. I went to a small school, uh, juvenile background, went to a public school small, ended up from just outside of Milwaukee to West Virginia State University, uh, like a working Pell Grant scholarship, part this, part that. And I didn't know and didn't pay attention in 1980 when I graduated that most state colleges traditionally were black colleges. And that was it was a black teachers college. It's now a big university. So I walked into a place and everything there happened good for me in that short season. But college basketball made the team. I'm in college. What, big surprise to me working just through routine high school.
That's awesome. Now, one of the things that when we say memory palace, did you find yourself when you were in that difficult season going back to those nice days and remembering the folks in the stands that would come out and support you perhaps?
Oh yeah, definitely that. Um, in the dark seasons, and everyone has them. Everyone.
You mean life's not perfect?
Uh, I didn't get dealt those cards. So if yours is, I'm with you. I'm following you. But it's certainly not perfect. It's full of challenges, but always reminiscing of the thing that was good. I would find out later, biblically and philosophically, that that's all that is instructed. There be any virtue, there be any praise, think of these things. Mark teaches quite well, written books and speaks many years about if you focus on the good will come. And there's definitely an unexplainable, undeniable dynamic that if I get up irritable and I am driving my car and I go to work, there's nothing wrong. But if I have that aura, I'm going to run into Mr. or Mrs. double aura of my negativity. Well, versus it just happens. If I cut myself shaving, I'm doing that. Who knows where I'll walk into? I'll snap at somebody or just goofy stuff happen. A car wreck right in front of me. Doesn't always happen like that in a perfect science, of course, but like in kind, if I come out happy, regardless of how I'm feeling, like today, art of encouragement, who knows what behind us and other people's lives today in North Carolina, what, you know, how do they feel encouraged? They're out helping one another dig mud and hug each other. Stop there. Dig mud, hug each other. I read a posting Mark had recently. Let us cling tight to one another. That's all that we have, or all that we really share. Isn't that not the truth? Um, so the dark seasons, the reflection of the good things, and it usually comes down to something that clung to me, or I still cling to it in positivity. Mhm.
Absolutely. Now, Mark, I'm pivot back to you here. Um, Mnemonics. Do you use mnemonics to help you ever?
Yes, I do. But just to make it clear for our audience, could you explain what mnemonic is?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Mnemonics is a way for us to access the full benefit of our mind by giving our minds just a little just hint of something, we're able to go back into complex thought patterns, all associated by one syllable. And typically, we're thinking oral mnemonics.
Mhm.
What I've
Yeah.
been hinting around today, you all, instead of using oral mnemonics, there's actually a way for us to use memory enhancement with spatial and visual situations as well, where we can have only a thought. Let's take Greg, for instance, today. Greg going back into that basketball game. Perhaps it is the sound of boom, that basketball hitting or it missing the foul, that sort of thing, and the crowd's mad. Oh, there's that third point. Whatever it is, he can go back to a specific sound or a sight. And it uses visualizations of spatial environments
Mhm.
that where we can really reconstruct the most profound places, the most impactful places, the memories that shape us, the memories that guide us. Have you ever wanted to go back and relive a day? Have you wanted to go back and revisit a place? That's what Loci, Loci, it is a specific strategy for memory enhancement, and it helps us to enhance our recall of information. No one can remember all the details. You know how it's kind of foggy. We see what we need to see, but our mind doesn't fill all the other information in. We don't see the lady behind the concession stand at that basketball game. Using Loki, you're able to go back to the profound memories, the good ones, the bad ones,
Mm.
and just using that wisp of a memory to go back into your mind palace. You can revisit the good days. You know, those days where it's like you're always living them, and you can hear maybe someone saying, "You're not good enough." Or you can hear someone saying, "Wow, I am so proud of you." What if it's that last time you heard that person's voice? Wouldn't it be great to go back and to be able to actually relive that? Well, I believe God has given us that capacity, and this strategy is known as a journey method. It's a memory space, and as I first called it, a mind palace. You see, the reason I ask you that, Mark, you made me think of this because as you're able to go around this amazing countryside that you've shared with us at times, just to capture those moments because we never know if we'll be able to go back physically, but you can always go back if you want to. Is it easy? No. Just like Mark has to get himself ready for that polar plunge. It's not easy. You're not going to learn this technique in a day, and you can get really frustrated. Now, thankfully, I had some time to work on this. I had a little bit of time, about 7, 8 years, but about halfway through that time, I heard of this technique and I began practicing it diligently. One of the reasons I made peace with my past is because of Loki. I was able to go back to those situations that shaped my life and have an objective view of what really happened. I was able to take myself and my emotions out. I can go back and see what really happened. And here's the cool thing, I can go back to those spaces now without anyone there. So if you're ever wanting to go forward, go forward. If you find yourself always looking back and over analyzing something that happened 25 years ago, isn't it worth it to work a month or two on learning a new technique so that you can finally resolve that trauma, or just accept that something amazing happened on that day and know you were not joking. Your mind didn't make anything up. And you will have that assurance. I say all that because so many times we are hesitant to try new things. If you're trying your best to be a public speaker, but you never can remember that sequence, don't just say, I can't remember. Look for things that help you. Look for techniques and be tenacious about finding what's going to make your objective come true. And it may involve out of the box strategies or thinkings. You may be the first person to have tried this in your circle. Be a trendsetter. I'll tell you, it will make an impact. Um, you see, I asked him, what do people in cities do? Maybe they learn low key and they're able to go through the woods with us, one step at a time, and have perhaps not the physical sensation. I'm not going to say that I feel cold and I got burned. That doesn't happen. But I'm able to go there and really, without thinking that I'm having a false experience, I feel as though I can go there at times. And I know this may be an out of the box strategy for some folks, but I would say before you knock it, try it.
I'm interested to learn more, Nick, because I am open to learning, and I'm sure people who watch us, and I'm sure Greg would appreciate it as well. I hope. Would you, once this episode is complete, perhaps put it in the comments, more information about this so we can access this and look it up and read
Absolutely. And
as well?
perhaps for our new website that's going to be launched soon, this will be one of our blog articles and ways for you to hear us here talk about a topic that's interesting that maybe you don't agree with me. You're like, that doesn't work. I love that you don't agree with me. Let's talk about it. Put it in the comments right now. Let's have that discussion. Bring your friends in. Why? Because we want to just grow. Yeah, we want to grow. We want to increase our impact, but we also want to increase our conversation around the world to one that's relevant. It's one thing to say, let's encourage, let's encourage. It's another thing to give people tools that will help them on their journey. So you want to feel encouraged, go back to the best days of your life. And you've got that with this technique.
In a practical consideration, I'm watching my soon to be 82-year-old vibrant mother do that very thing. She's afraid of the phone. We get her the phone. She's now not afraid of the phone, but she lives on the movies. They're real. Oh, I like these little movies. Back in her day, they were little movies on little reels. 82 years old. Universe all the way around. She's always, look at this. This looks like you when you were a baby. I've seen the baby pictures, but she's got 4 kids, all the different. Oh, this one reminds me of your brother, your sister. And then one way I took it is like a longing for them days because lives are going different and some family is gone and she's getting older and all that. But the love that's there in that moment, I walked away one night, I had to go. All right, Mom, see you tomorrow. Because how she sees that in remembrance of me or whoever. Wouldn't you just love to know people remembered you? And it's not a natural process. Um, that's all I want to say. That's it.
I appreciate it. And Mark, I know we are at 10:20 now. I know you've got to swing out. And a lot of times, when one of us goes, we don't get to acknowledge that. But Day, as we're trying new things, we're being proactive. I just want to thank you for
Thank you all.
sparking this discussion today.
Yeah,
You
thank
are
you all.
amazing and can't wait to see you next week, buddy.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Greg.
Thank
See you
you.
next
I'll talk
week.
to you
Bye.
soon.
See you
Thank you.
Tuesday.
Bye-bye. Yep.
Righty. So, Greg, how do you feel? Both of us are passionate about faith, so is Mark. But a lot of times we are not those folks that we're not hitting people over the head with anything, right? Instead, we hopefully give encounters of grace and and leave them with a sense, wow, they're not like the ones that we hear about. They're not like the ones that are from my childhood or that sort of thing. How do you believe this concept, this method of mnemonic enhancement would be received by most people in mainstream Christianity? Do you think there would be a lot of reluctance to it? Or
I
do you
really don't think so. And they have that all across the board in Christendom, Catholic, Protestant, wherever. There's core principles in the Proverbs. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he.
yes.
Holding up anger, the positive. If a man would have a friend, first show himself friendly, and a brother will be separated, but a friend endures forever. If that's not reflective, both proactive and in the past, then what is? There's when I've Song of Solomon in Ecclesiastes rather, when I consider all these things, vanities, vanities, that's a reflection about what was this thing? You gathered money and all the works under the sun, and you labored and toiled. And is it not vanity? So it's a reflection of the past coming to an end of life or fulfillment of life. And then what really matters, it always comes to the core relationship, faith, and love. I mean, these are the things that are better. I'm going currently through a personal training course with a person who loves me dearly, and they're showing me how I'm performance based, always have been. And if whether it be in family relationships or work, whatever, if I do, then you'll like me. And if I do more, then you'll like me more. And if you don't really feel about it the way I do, or you're not paying attention, it's like a kid inside of a glass car, um, the window up, just trying to get attention to somebody knocking on the window. And I'm, I'm working on the negative parts of my behavior and irritabilities and angers and stuff. And so blindly, I talk, maybe to mom or friends or loved ones, in a way that they didn't say how I'm coming across, but I'm still coming across. And sometimes you'll never get in because you don't even understand what you're doing. I'm a blind man walking around. And so I'm taking that quite well. But in Christendom, these processes are in their nature. Um, we have to communicate with ourselves. The look in the mirror. Look at James, a man that sees himself in the mirror and forgets what he saw in the mirror and goes another way. Pretty much, summation is a fool. Are you not dealing with what you're seeing? And that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. Just currently, as of yesterday, just trying to piece things together. And hey, I want to change that. Would this be better? And that kind of stuff. But yeah, Christendom, I believe they're inseparable. Whether you're a Christian or not, the Creator has made all that we see and all that we just saw around the world in storms. It's mankind that we get mixed up in our relationships. But God made the whole thing, and we're all pieces on the chessboard, all to be interplayed together. And there's a sovereign hand somewhere, and that's inescapable.
Absolutely. And imagine for those people who may be reluctant or skeptical, it's not a bad idea to have those because it takes everyone. It really does. Where me, I hear something, I'm like, yeah, let's go. There are those people who really consider things. They spend a lot of time. Should I, shouldn't I? We need those people as well. And
I need a group of them.
right. you know the scripture, study to show thyself approved. What an amazing capacity our Creator has given us, that we can use just a hint of a sound or a wisp of a memory to unlock a whole chain of thoughts, almost moving and expanding like one original thought or word. It's like you just keep unlocking. That's not against religion of any kind in this world. If anything, that shows just how intricately we are made. It's amazing the capacity of the mind, and to know that as humans, we have not unlocked the potential at this time. Every test shows that we are using less than 10% capacity. I know it used to be 8%. There's a lot of speculation. No, it's more. No, it's less. Okay, we'll say less than 10%. But that's what we can do with less than 10%. Imagine if we were consistently working on expanding our minds to potential. What would a life look like at 12% or 13%? Just taking different ways for us to unlock our full potential. You see, I use mnemonics when I play piano. It's one of my
Wow.
secrets. And Nick, how do you sit down and play and remember all these things? There's a secret, there's a method. And if you go back and look at the pedagogists, the performances that or the performers that have shaped kind of our time, most of them they don't even realize that's what it's called. But they use some sort of mnemonic method to help them. And it's kind of like the old zip files. And I know some people still use zip files. It's like, well, how can I have a zip file and it'll go through the email and it unlocks the same file, but why can't I just put it there? That is exactly what mnemonics is. It's us creating zip files for different parts of our experience. Now we do have a question today in our comments, Greg. Marge Blanton said, have you ever felt hopeless before being encouraged?
Well, I can answer that. Absolutely. I was working in my mind as we were talking earlier during our, thanks for the question and Mark for asking it.
Marge.
March, sorry. The difference between shame and sham. It's a letter.
Ooh.
Shame and sham. And the E that's dropped off of shame is education for me. And that's what I'm doing in my personal life. Yes, it can definitely take you during shame and hopelessness. I find them inextricably intertwined. Also, if I feel hopeless, it's because in my life at least, I felt shame about failures or whatever, about how I thought about something or I did something wrong. I should have applied for that job and I did miss opportunity. So hopelessness uh, can hang around your neck like an anchor and you're going straight down with it. But to be hopeful is to go back and to reflect, who am I? What am I? Do I love myself? Do I care? Do people care about me? And there may be very few, but that will keep you afloat and get you to not tie yourself up, if that helps.
I I agree. And have you felt hopeless before being encouraged? That means the gas tank is on E. Think
Mm-hmm.
about the days where everything's going right. You're getting attaboys everywhere. Everyone's saying, hey, that was awesome. Whoa, good job. You're having all of this encouragement, but at the end of the day, it didn't really make an impact because you're already at capacity. You're already at 100%. And people may say the most amazing things. wow, that was the best you've ever done. And you have this litany of encouragement that goes in one ear and out the other because it didn't have a place to stick. Your endorphins were already in full response, and you just were not able to receive it. Now, fast forward, and you're in a similar situation, but you've been on a losing streak. You're, let's say you're a professional football player, and I got to meet one of those recently, didn't know who he was, looked familiar, and I made fun of his team. Whoops. Now he's my Facebook friend, and I hope you're watching. He's
You've
a
got to
quarterback
call
for an
that in.
NFL team.
You've got to call it into the Jags or whoever it is. You got to call that in.
I
Another
asked him if he
program.
admitted it. And he said he played for that. I said, "You admit it?" And he said, "I like you." And now I am Facebook friends with him. But anyway, um, you never ever know. But I'll tell you, even with that goading there, he would not receive that response in stride if he wasn't doing pretty well this year. It could have upset, it could have taken him back because I really did not know who he was.
If you think you got a physical problem, you could have Rubik was NFL football player.
Well, you know me, I can get myself into situations. You've seen that before. But okay. But no, I believe, Marge, that it's when you're hopeless that you have the greatest potential, that encouragement can change the world for you. Just one call, one keep going. Now, I'll tell you, on that day of celebration, you might look at someone like, keep going. What do you mean? And almost hear that as a rebuke, as something negative, even though the person didn't mean it that way. Where we are with acceptance, with achievement, with acknowledgement, and where we are in our psyche affect everything. There are days when we can change the world, and there are days where we don't feel like changing our clothes. Where are you today? And that's not, of course, that's a rhetorical question. And I appreciate that, at our darkest points, at our lowest points, that's when we can go up and anything's possible. What is it? It is only darkest before the dawn. It's only darkest before the dawn. So if you're struggling and you don't know what to do next, it's okay. Maybe you don't have to do anything. Be still, wait. And especially if that's not your normal inclination, have a resolve to do that even more. Because if you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you always got. And you got to change your stinking thinking. So that's my encouragement to everyone today. Quit saying it's just how I am. That is the mantra of a person that has stopped their journey, that has stopped their progress, that has stopped their evolution in life. When you say, well, that's just me, that's just me. And I know we're going a little bit over, Greg. I'll tell you, I was coaching someone this week, and people know what they need to do without me having to say situations, without me saying, well, perhaps this addiction is causing so much strife in your life. They know it. We know what we need to change. You want to change your life? Start. That's the big thing. You want different outcomes? Do it. Start today. Don't start tomorrow Because I'll tell you, if you wait for things to be the way they need to be, however you're dreaming, it's never going to happen. There will always be another tomorrow that looks better to change. Tomorrow will always be in the future. If you want to change your life, I challenge every single one of our viewers and our friends and those around the world. You want to change your life? Start. Write down what you need to do. You know what you need to do. And here's the thing, throw away the dang paper and just do it. Just do it. I encourage you to do that today. I'm Nick Patterson. This is Greg. Go ahead. I'm going to give Greg here. I'm not going to say another word. Greg's got this. Thank you all.
Thank you for joining us. You'll see us on Facebook Live every Friday at 10 a.m. for a thought of encouragement, practicing your art. Give us your feedback. We love having you. Thanks, Nick. Have a great week.
Greg, thank you all. Goodbye.